Good morning. Good morning. I hope all of you guys are doing great out there. My name is Alesia Quante, and I guess you guys know that, right? And I started this 1099 CRNA success group because so many of my friends have been asking me all through my life, like how to set up the successful 1099 so that it runs without a hitch, and so that I can save like $40,000 to $60,000 a year, just because of the way that I manage my money and also the way that I prepare my taxes. And when I say tax prep, I mean all the pre-accounting stuff that actually we're responsible for doing, like channeling the money from the right accounts, the bookkeeping and that kind of thing. So I welcome you today. I want to tell you that more than the money, it is the sense of lightness and joy that I get from being a 1099er, where I'm in charge of where I'm going to work. And if they're not treating me right, guess what? I can go work somewhere else. And then every time I get a new job, my negotiation skills get better. So that's what I teach in the Freedom Masterclass. And this is sort of a preview of that. I welcome whoever would like to join me from the Freedom Masterclass onto this video. Be sure to mute just during the presentation, and I appreciate that. But I want as many of you guys to join as would like that are already in the Freedom Masterclass, and we'll talk a little bit about the Freedom Masterclass from a testimonial standpoint at the end. So definitely you can go to my website, which I'm going to have posted in just a few minutes. But until then, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Let's double check my screen share. It is looking good from what I can tell. So here we go. One moment. Actually, Crystal, are you still on this Zoom meeting with me? Or whoever that is that's on the Zoom meeting. Can you double check my picture? I don't have my phone with me. So anyway, I'm going to have to assume that it is looking okay. All right, so we're going to move ahead. So these are the 3 keys to success for 1099 CRNAs. That's what I'm presenting. Kind of had to narrow it down so that you guys wouldn't get so much information that it's Saturday morning. Come on. I'm really glad you guys have joined. What my goal is to communicate to you the joy, the freedom, and the liberation that comes with being a 1099 CRNA. I mean, it is the best of all the worlds. It creates a balance between work and the rest of your life. So if something in your life has changed and you're at the point where you know you need to make a move, don't be afraid to do it. It's very normal because we all started as W2 and we always looked at those 1099ers as just somebody who came in and, they're doing exactly the same thing we're doing. You can't tell they're any different from us from a work-a-day standpoint, but then they always leave at 3 o'clock. That we notice. They always get their breaks because they're being treated very well so that they'll come back. So you get a different status as 1099. Also, I want to make a point that I recently went through a life-changing event, and I realized that life is so, so precious. And so that is really what spawned this whole class. I want to give back to my profession, and I want to tell you honestly, we've only got so much time. We all know that, but honestly, we never know what are our last words going to be and when is that going to happen. Until then, we need to be true to ourselves, true to our family, make the move. Don't be afraid. We're in this world with everyone else trying to find that happiness. So it's really just a matter of knowledge. So that is why I created my course, the Freedom Masterclass, to share that knowledge with other CRNAs, because 2 things I know, and that is business, and the other thing is anesthesia. So it's a perfect marriage. And one thing I want to say about business is there is a lot of fear in business, because when you think business, you think risk. But as a nurse anesthetist, there's really no risk. There's 1099 jobs out there everywhere. It's very easy to get 1099 jobs, even if they're not advertised. I teach how to get those jobs in the Freedom Masterclass. I spend a whole 2 hours on that. If the culprit is fear, and that's why you're not making a positive change for yourself, understand that all you really have to do is to have a mentor. So fear is very common. Everyone, Albert Einstein had fear. Maya Angelou had fear, but they also had the courage to be true to themselves and their family and to explain to the world what their passion is and reach that passion. And that's what I think every one of us can do. The thing about 1099 is that it allows you to expand in other venues in your life. And that is just so rewarding. So if you have a few minutes, set everything aside and just listen to how you can go about making this happen. The lifestyle, the income, and the savings are like nothing that you can get as a W2 CRNA. So live life to your fullest. Don't be afraid to learn more. I know you learned a lot in anesthesia school. That was such a tumultuous time, right? Well, transitioning to 1099 is probably similar, but not nearly as frightening. There is going to be some of that fear along the way, but understand it's supposed to be there. Growth is uncomfortable. So embrace it. The best way for you to do this, however, is to really reduce that anxiety. One of my testimonials on my website, which is 1099successacademy.com. If you look at the most recent couple of testimonials down, you'll see where someone said, Alesia really took the anxiety out of this change. And that really just makes me so happy. I mean, my goal is to touch as many people as I can and give you a roadmap so that this is very, very easy. So I'm going to show you how to make this happen. I'm going to show you where the jobs are. I'm going to tell you about why there is so much security as a 1099er. And I'm going to talk about the psychological issues that occur when you're making that transition that are actually very real, and where those 1099 positions are, how to find the most fun, most financially rewarding ones, and some negotiation strategies to get you there. So, but do know that about 6 months into anesthesia, I had this terrible burnout. Like, I could not believe that after all that school, and I really enjoyed giving anesthesia, that I was having this like hateful burnout. And I was like, this is not for me. I can't believe all the taxes coming out of my check. So the other thing I noticed is that there was a lot of oppression occurring as a W-2 from actually the anesthesiologists that owned the group that I was working for. And a lot of what they were saying was sort of gaslighting, like, thank goodness you're here, you're pulling for the team, what you're sacrificing your time for is to build this team more stronger. But what they were really saying is, what I was there for was to give them the tax breaks because I'm a W-2, and to increase their income with every case that I do, since they're only paying as a W-2 about 1/10 of what they're making, or sometimes 1/4 to 1/10. It depends on what the group of people that you're providing anesthesia services to. So it does depend on your patient group. Like if you're working with Medicaid patients, that's not the case, but this is not the situation at most hospitals. There's a lot of orthopedics going on. There's a lot of these really high dollar cases, even GI with the high volume, these cases that take in so many patients that have such good insurance that pay so well. So the oppression is real. The gaslighting is real. How do you fix that? You really need a support group. Where can you find the support group as you transition from 1099 to from W2 to 1099, so that you'll quit hearing the anesthesiologist that says, yeah, well, if you were my child, I would tell you blah, blah, blah. No, we're not your child. We are on level with you from a Medicare standpoint, get paid exactly the same as you. So there's this equivalency that you learn in a support group, such as the 1099 Freedom Masterclass. So I give a year membership of that. So that is the support that is really and truly needed, along with a weekly Q&A where we get together and talk for a couple of hours. And then once a week, I have a presenter come in and talk about health, life, disability, malpractice, all those insurances and representatives who can help you at a time of day when you're available. I do this at 8 p.m. That way people across the country, I'm in Eastern Standard Time, they can come to this. But anyway, don't be afraid to step out. And I do want to tell you that most people have imposter syndrome about this. Even, new graduates that are physicians have imposter syndrome. New CRNAs have imposter syndrome, but let's face it, they are all getting paid the same as people who have 10 years of experience. This is why I say you don't have to wait to be 1099. When they put you in a heart as a new grad, as a 1099, they're going to give you the same training as anybody else. You will always get the same support. You don't have to be afraid to ask clinical practice questions to your cohorts. It doesn't matter if you're W2 or 1099. Everybody cares about the patient. So, I was willing to step out of the norm as a newbie, as a 6-month CRNA, because my family encouraged me to. I come from a family of businessmen and women, and they all said, why are you a W2? This is a major problem. You cannot get ahead as a W2. Your retirement savings is never going to be enough to get ahead. Your income is never going to be enough to get ahead. You need to be 1099. I didn't really know how to go about doing that until, fortunately, I met a mentor, a 1099 CRNA that gave me the roadmap that I'm going to share with you. So, and it turns out to be exactly true, that I get time off whenever I want. I submit a schedule of availability. I work out my schedule with other 1099ers. I save a ton of money on taxes, and I find tons of work. So it doesn't just happen, though. It is very complex. But I do want to say with mentorship, it is not. So if you're interested in the flexible schedule and maximum pay, low tax burden, and plenty of time off, if you are ready, and if you want to show that you were present during this presentation, or that you have watched it, and get 10% off of our class, and we have orientation tomorrow. I just want everyone to know. Orientation begins tomorrow. So if you're ready to make this move, to start preparing to make this move, type yes. That way you will get the 10% off coupon. So let's go ahead and jump into these real quick. 3 super duper keys to success. And the first one is that you'll have more control of your lifestyle and a lot more money. That is so very true. I mean, some places I budgeted my work on Mondays. Other places I budgeted work on Fridays. Those are the highest need days. And then I tried to fill in between. And that is how I determined what places I liked to work and which ones I didn't. So then I shed the ones that I didn't, replaced them with other places. And finally, now I have a really beautiful balance of workplaces. And I can also negotiate as I go. Every time you change physicians, the market has changed, your rate is going to go up. So that is just one of like 20 things I could tell you about that. And I do tell you, that is why I have 10 units in the Freedom Masterclass, because there is so many pearls that you need to have to be truly successful as a 1099 CRNA, to have not a care in the world and have the support that you need to get through this. So, I had reality shock. It didn't last me long. They say if you're going to fail, fail fast. So it only took me like 4 weeks before, I realized what was going on. I found somebody to mentor and I made that move. So it doesn't matter where you are in the scheme of things. You make a choice and act on it. You're going to be happier. Don't let anybody gaslight you. Well, you can't come back and work here, because let me tell you that 6 months down the road, when you're still credentialed and holidays have come and you give them a call and say, hey, you know, I'm expanding my practice some more and I'm just letting you know I'm available and I really love you guys. You can say that and say, I'd love to come and give some hot vacation breaks for you guys. And they will welcome that. So, you know, don't worry about the gaslighting. Just block it out, know what your focus is, and move ahead. So you'll create a schedule of availability as a 1099, usually for about 3 months ahead. Fun in the sun, you've got to do your own vacation planning. I teach banking buckets. You're going to be making 30 to 40% more. And so you'll have more pay. You'll be able to put aside much more money, 3 times as much money into retirement as you can as a W-2. So that is also going to reduce your taxable income. And you'll have as much free floating money as you do right now, even after that. But it's all on how you manage that flow in order to make that happen. So plus the happier work environments, and it does feel so good to say, yeah, I'm an independent contractor and I just work around this area. So you don't have to be owned by any one place. And that is such a freeing feeling. So it doesn't matter if you've never been exposed to business or you only know a little bit about what you've read or what you've Googled. It really isn't real until we make that verbal exchange with another individual that has walked that path. Then we feel secure. So if you're tired of this scheme right here, where as a W-2, all your taxes come out first, then you get whatever is left, you pay your bills and have very little to show for it after that. So it makes it very difficult to save. If you're ready to open your world up to 1099, where your business expenses come after you get all of that money, the business expenses are your bills. So you pay all your bills, which reduces your taxable income. Then you pay taxes on what is left. And that puts more money in your pocket, but you have to do it the right way. You've got to do it the legal way and the accounting principle way. And I happen to have always wanted to be an accountant, so I learned so much about this. So I'm happy to share that though. And that is why I put together this class. You know, your new income bracket doesn't put you in the next, your new income won't put you in the next bracket. In fact, it's going to reduce your income bracket. It is amazing because by the time you subtract all of that stuff, then even health insurance is a business expense. I mean, come on, you're going to reduce your taxable income incredibly. So if any of you guys that I'm talking to today, all across the United States, if you have a mindset to change and what you're doing isn't working for you, I totally get it. If any of these things apply to you, if you are so tired of the powerlessness to control your schedule, if you are getting the sense that you're being owned, if you're irritated with the docs, if you're irritated with the politics, you know, if you're not able to write off just your business expenses, obviously you cannot as a W-2, or you feel really stuck. You don't have to stay that way. If you just put in a little energy, don't be afraid to feed your energy into this. You will get there. I've seen one after the other of my enrollees. They get there. They are so excited. It has changed their world. So recognize your fear of change. Don't let it control you. You know, 1099 CRNAs, once again, make 40% more than W2 CRNAs and yet have a lower tax bracket. Why are we working? We're working for income to support our family. But do we want something for ourselves? Yes. We want control of our work schedule. We want control of our work location. We would like to expand our professional growth in a very supportive environment. And I teach you how to do that in the Freedom Masterclass, you know, and reduce your taxation. Let's make more money, keep more money, and then use some of our benefits as a tax deduction. And really all of this, what this adds up to is you can focus on your personal growth. You know, you schedule that bike ride for the day that the weather looks good next week, that sort of thing. So it's time for you to take control. And so I just want to know, Is it complicated seeming? The key to success, number 2, is it actually isn't complicated when you understand how to set it all up. You learn about it, you set it up, and then you go for it. And then all of a sudden, everything will just fall into place. So negotiating the rates is easy, but you have to come up with a negotiation strategy. I spend over 2 hours teaching negotiation strategies that are proven, they work. I have graduates of my program that they said, I could not believe I was going to go in there and accept this rate of pay. And all I had to do was open my mouth and say something. And now I'm getting paid so much better. So, the aha moment for me, though, the real true mentorship moment was when my mentor said that I would not have to, that even though I was sad, oh gosh, I'm going to have to pay for my own benefits. She's like, yeah, but listen, you are going to be able to take your work wherever you want to go work. You don't like working where you work, go work somewhere else. Your benefits package goes with you. So besides the fact that some of it is a huge tax deduction, it gives you the freedom to change your jobs easily. So the third key to success is that the work is unlimited. Is it unlimited? Absolutely. It's unlimited because once you credential anywhere, now you have financial stability and job predictability. They're not credentialing you for fun and to spend the money. They need help. And during those 3 months that you're credentialing, often life happens. People see opportunities that they can move, and you move right in and you build your 1099 life. It happens like that. So the fact is 1099 jobs are just as steady as W2, and they don't have that noose. So you don't need strings attached. Your anesthesia practice stands on its own. You can do this because you are a nurse anesthetist. In fact, a nurse anesthesiologist. Your pay, according to Medicare, is exactly what a physician anesthesiologist is. Your value is the same. So because of that, you have the right to build a practice, an independent practice, just like a physician anesthesiologist. Are there some rules you have to follow? Yes. I teach you the workarounds. I take down those barriers for you because it's time to move CRNAs forward into the shoes that our predecessors made for us. We are able to make so much money, y'all. We are able to have so much control. Maybe you're like, you know what? I'm past my prime. I can't do this. I'm real comfortable where I am. I'm afraid. I'm telling you, so many people have said that to me. And now they're looking back and saying, I am so much happier. I just had no awareness of what I was missing. So look up imposter syndrome and realize it's a real thing. Again, Albert Einstein, Maya Angelou, even Arnold Schwarzenegger. These are 3 of the most famous people with imposter syndrome. But do you know that over 90% of all people have imposter syndrome? So you're not alone. Recognize it. We can overcome it just like we can overcome anything. So if you're worried about traveling, oh gosh, what if I'm going to have to travel? First of all, you may not have to. I teach in my class where to find the locations to work that are all around you. You are literally peppered with potential work locations all around you. That you can actually take the next step and grow an anesthesia services business if you want. So we're about to have the 2022 Entrepreneur Mastermind Summit that has 7 CRNAs that have made it internationally with their anesthesia services company. And do you know, every one of them started out as a 1099 CRNA. How did they do it? Well, that's what they're going to share on this summit. Is it possible though? That's what I want you to know. It is. You need to lay the groundwork as a 1099 in order to get this going. It's really not that difficult. Even the budget is not difficult. I have a segment that is all on setting up your budget, and you actually have to do it. But once you set it up, you don't have to keep on top of it like on a daily basis. It's not like that. But you have to see where the cash flow is. You have to make sure the money is coming out and going to the right locations. So when you change, what this slide is about is the truth is, honestly, there are so many nice people out there. Every time I go to a new work location, I can't believe how kind and wonderful the people are. It's just such an unexpected pleasure. So open yourself up to that. Realize once again, knowledge is power. Take this knowledge and move ahead in your life. I have taken it from so many 1099 CRNAs. And way back when I had terrible imposter syndrome, I used to say all the time, listen, if I can do this, anybody can do this. But the truth is, CRNAs, all CRNAs, can do this. They really just need an action plan. They really just need education. This really should be curriculum. And maybe one day it will be. But for now, I'm offering you this masterclass and I'm offering you support. So if you're motivated to do this, don't forget to type yes down below to show that you have attended this, and you will be able to qualify for the 10% off coupon for the Freedom Masterclass if you buy it today. And this is because our orientation is tomorrow. So we're running the special today. So right now, to smoothly make that transition, you could either try to figure it out on your own, and you might get there, but there is a huge chance that with life getting in the way and work schedules and obligations, a lot of times people just don't have the support to get this happening, which is why I really think it's better to get coached and directed by someone who's already done it successfully over and over. It can save you the time and the mistakes and the headaches. And it's so nice to have somebody to be accountable to. So if you are interested in growing in this way and freeing yourself, you can join the 1099 CRNA Freedom Masterclass. And honestly, it's a shortcut. It's a shortcut to get to the other side of life, to where you are feeling happier, you're more lighthearted. I'm telling you, you will have longevity as a result of this. So if you're ready, if you can relate to any of these, type yes. And if you feel you're not getting paid your value, that is a huge part of this, and you're not having time for you and your family, that is why I created this course. It's a 10-unit course plus 10 speakers, and that way you don't have to struggle to get this together yourself, and you have the support. I give you my Calendly link, and you're able to schedule a time with me anytime you want. And I speak with some people weekly. I just helped somebody move from this W2 job. She loves the W2 job. She just talked them into being 1099. And she's taking a position in a city that she has always wanted to go to with them. And she's going to be the lead CRNA as they build this new practice. And the income that she negotiated, she was so afraid to even say the numbers. But we practiced together. We put her numbers together. She is so excited. So this little bit of tuition represents a drop in the bucket of the tens of hundreds of thousands of dollars that you're going to make over your lifetime as a result of getting your act together today and becoming a 1099 CRNA. And the fact of the matter is, if all you got was just what I teach, the benefits, the budgets, the setup, the bookkeeping, the tax organization, if that was it, I really think that would be worth it financially. But it's overcoming that fear. If I can help you through that, and if I can help reduce the stress and time so that it's easy, I'm just asking, that is worth it to me. Would it be worth it to you? So I could have charged a very low price so everyone could have it, but I couldn't dedicate the kind of time that I honestly think, like in anesthesia school, what if it was super cheap? Okay. But nobody was available to be your clinical instructor because they didn't spend enough money. They didn't charge enough to have clinical instructors. This is the same way. Business is the same way. I don't want you to have some cheap, low ticket item that isn't going to serve you. So I did decide to charge more, and it is not cheap, honestly, but it's an investment in you, and you will never lose it. It will always grow with you. So what is it worth to be completely set up? So this is the price of the class. If you go ahead and commit to take the class, you do get the bonus of 1 year of membership. And that includes my mentorship. But enrollment, I do keep it limited to 20 people a month, because I don't want to make it too many people that I cannot mentor folks on an individual basis, because you need somebody to sit down with your budget. You need somebody to help you out figuring out your taxation and figuring out, what, compared to the job I'm making now, how much do I need to make even more? So, or what is my estimated taxes? How do I figure that out? So I help with all of that. So today, if you type yes down below, you will get 10% off, and we will send you that coupon. But that is the only way to get 10% off. So you can see why this is a great deal. I really appreciate you guys joining. I have an open Q&A now. You can ask anything you want. You're welcome to come on to the Zoom with me as well. I'm happy to do that. And put anything you like in the chat. So I really appreciate you joining. I'm just going to stop sharing this screen. And Crystal has said, who is joining me here. Hey, Crystal, so great to have you. I really appreciate this. So yeah, the gaslighting is, I think cognitive dissonance is a perfect word from it. It really throws you off base. It like unseats the person that we know we are. It makes us question ourselves and question, are we capable of things? 100% we're capable, because we have to remember, who is the person gaslighting us? The person gaslighting us is a person that wants to continue to have us as a W-2. They want us to feel trapped so that we won't leave. They don't want us to grow our profession because they make money off of us. So it's always important. I guess it always comes down right to follow the money. But it's just so wrong. Gaslighting in any location for any reason, totally wrong. So, but it's a real thing. So we need to get past that. The only way, I think, to get past it is to no longer be a W-2 employee. And you may think, just like the young lady I was telling you about, that is a W-2, so happy in her location, you may think that you have to stay where you're at to really grow. And you may think that there is no way that they're going to let you be 1099. But the fact is, I said, this is how you do it. Just go say these words, go negotiate this. She went and did it. And I am not kidding you. She texted me immediately. She said, let me tell you, they're going to let me be 1099. I'm like, yeah, they're not going to let you. The fact is, they need you. There's only 58,000 nurse anesthetists, and we're more retiring every day. The numbers are dropping. So our scarcity causes our rate to be, our value is high. So our rate should reflect that. We are bringing in tons of money for other people. Why are we doing that? We can practice in a standalone fashion, but this is a good step. Being 1099, moving out of W-2, negotiating and getting at least a higher rate, although it's still just a portion of our actual value, that is moving out of that. I mean, I hate to say it, that kind of like that pimping feeling, we don't need that. We are healthcare professionals that are trained to practice independently, or even in a group or collaboratively, or even in an anesthesia care team, but we do not have to be W-2. We have the right to be our own business. So, and then when we do that, it lightens our load, we're able to expand our practice. So anyway, I really appreciate you all coming. Let me see, I'm gonna look and see if there are any, if there's any questions. And, I invite you, Crystal, if you have any questions, to come and join and ask. But I do appreciate your support and joining me today. Honestly, it has been just such a pleasure. It's so much fun when there's somebody with me on this because, it's just kind of me talking to a camera, but I know you guys are out there. So I'm looking now, Lauren, hey, Lauren. And I want to say hey to Stephanie as well. Hey, Lauren wants to know, is this class something that would be beneficial even if you're not ready to make the move to 1099 yet? Absolutely. I had this lady, okay, she was in the Northeast and she joined my class, and her plan was she has horses. So her plan was to move down to Florida for half of the year and then stay up north for half of the year. And so she went ahead and took my class in advance. We designed this adorable logo for her because part of what I teach is marketing. You do have to market yourself. And the best way to do that is on social media. So we put together this fantastic logo. And next thing you know, she's down in Florida. We had research. Because she had months to put this together, she was able to research a lot of different locations and actually reach some of the people that worked in these locations. So, I think planning ahead is a great idea. I don't think you have to wait. Especially because you get a year membership. And then there is like a tail for this class. I mean, not truly a tail, but a continuance, so that if you continue my class for 1/4 of the price every year, then at your next 4-year cycle, you will just get those hours. So right now our class is 28 continuing education credits, and they're Class A credits. So, and if you are a brand new student, you're not going to be able to benefit from those credits. We will extend you until the date that you're able to get those credits. So, Crystal, I look forward to meeting you. Crystal's going to sign up for the class, and her best friend took the class and learned so much. I know, sometimes you don't know how much you know until you put yourself in a position to teach. And although the way I knew what it takes is, I feel like I've changed a bit of the CRNA world in my little city of Savannah. And I've taught so many of my cohorts how to be 1099. And now offices and ASCs and now hospitals are just peppered with 1099. The hospitals had this one toxic one had a lot of 1099 positions available all the time, but these other desirable locations did not. So it's super nice to see that happen. And I want to see this happen across the country. And I know that as we step into these shoes, we can make a huge change, just like our predecessors did by getting parity, payment equality with physician anesthesiologists as we establish our independent practices, and then grow more practices by getting really comfortable out there and then negotiating and hiring other CRNAs to come in and make excellent money, paying them an excellent rate. So yes, so now I'm looking back at our Q&A, and Christina, hey, Wendy. Christina says, are there any student discounts available? Yes, because you're a student, we do give a 50% discount to students. So just when you, what we will do is we will just give you that coupon because you have asked that question. We'll just put that in your messenger, and I'll respond PM'd you. Or my sister, who is my partner, she will respond to you. Her name is Paris. Without Paris, this class would not exist. She is my IT tech, my marketing brain. She understands how to keep everybody happy, how to keep the continuing education units flowing. Listen, Paris is the one who came up with the idea that, honestly, we don't want our employers to know we're going 1099, but we would like our CME to pay for this. So we have spoken with the AANA, and we're able to give you a receipt that is discreet. It is called the CRNA Financial Freedom Masterclass. So that is the receipt that you get, but you have to specifically request that, message Paris or I, and request that. And Paris will produce one of those for you. Also, we produce brochures if you decide you want to travel and you want to deduct your portion of that travel. as a business expense, let Paris know. We do charge a nominal $100 fee because doing a brochure, we make it for the place where you're going on the dates where you're going. And there's going to be a lot of tweaking involved with that. So it does take a lot of extra time, but we can provide you with a brochure when you're ready so that you can write off way more expenses than that. It is so nice. And yes, Tammy, the CEUs, absolutely. Hey, Tammy, yep, 28 Class A credits. And I want you to know also that we have developed a class called the QuickBooks for 1099 CRNAs as a separate course taught by a CRNA that is so passionate about QuickBooks. She's been a 1099 CRNA for years. Her name is Megan Connor, and she teaches this class. I wanted to bring this to you, and I wanted to take her class because I didn't really know QuickBooks that well. I've always used Quicken, but it's so much better to use QuickBooks. So she taught me what I need to know and has taught so many people what they need to know in order to truly succeed, to really do their own payroll, to really reduce their expenses, because now they're doing their own bookkeeping. They are channeling the money correctly using their QuickBooks categories. And she teaches all about the ideal way to do that. So Christina Marie, hey, good to see you. Thank you guys for joining me today. And Amber, great to see you too. So let me just see if there's any other questions. If you can think of any questions, I'm here for you. I love teaching. I love raising CRNAs from the stature of W2 to the stature of 1099, where you can be with your family, go to your children's plays, go help your daughter pick out her wedding dress, go get the me time that you need. So for me, it's just been amazing. So thank you guys for joining. I don't really see any other questions. If you have any questions and you're watching this at a later time, do go ahead and personal message me those questions. Even if we're not Facebook friends, it is perfectly fine. I do check my back message request all the time. Many people do ask for information. So it's really great to see you guys today. Thank you guys for joining. All right, have a wonderful day. Take care.